Welcome, everyone, to SI Media with Jimmy Traina. I am your host. Thank you for listening. We have no guest this week. I think this is the second time this has happened. Tried to book the podcast. We've been on a nice run. We had RG3 and Peter Schrager last week. We had Dan Patrick 2 weeks ago, Bill Simmons 3 weeks ago, Joe Buck and Troy Aikman together 4 weeks ago. So if you missed any of those, go into the archives, check them out, subscribe to SI Media with Jimmy Traina, leave a review on Apple, although you guys don't do that anymore. It hurts my feelings. This week, the search for a guest came up empty, so it's just me and my buddy from WFAN Radio, SNY TV in New York, Sal Licata, for a full Train of Thoughts SI Media pod. Sal, thanks for coming through.
Oh, what are you kidding me? I'm here for you. You know, I like having the expanded version of Train of Thoughts.
Every single person I asked 5 people, and four out of the 5 all said, no, 3 out of the 5 said they can do it next week. And one said, let's do it in December, and another said no. So one of the people who said that they would be able to do the pod next week instead of this week was Ian Eagle. So Ian will be on next week. When I texted Ian to ask if he would come on, I didn't realize he said he had 7 games this week. He's got the Nets, he's got TNT, and he's got CBS. I was
going to ask you, how do you then play that when 4 people are like, oh, I'll do it next week, and now you got to be like, well, I don't need you next week, I need you now.
Right. So, well, Ian was great because I texted Ian, said, can you come on? He said, this week's impossible for me. I got 7 games with the traveling. He goes, but I can do it next week. So I said, fine, let's do it next week.
And then what about the others? You just passed that. You
so
just
then
them and be like,
So then the second person I asked said he would rather come on next week to promote a couple of things. But I said, well, next week's booked now because I had Ian.
All right, okay.
Penned in, not pencil, pen. Then the third person I asked, I'll say, so I asked Jim Miller, who's a regular.
Yeah.
This week was no good for him. He's going to come on in December, and I liked what he said. He wants to come on. He said he'll come on in December. And he said, I thought Jim would be good because Jim is plugged in big time to HBO. And it was announced this week that Curb's going to come back in February.
Right.
So he said, let's do it in December. I'll have some Curb information and nuggets for you before the premiere.
Okay, that's good.
So that was good.
We're going to get to go to the premiere again like we did several years back?
Maybe. I'll try. I'm going to try to get on the podcast. I remember what happened.
The night of the premiere and afterward at the dinner?
One of the worst moments of my life was taking that picture with Larry David. It really and here's what's frightening about it. It's the worst picture I've ever taken. It was probably at my peak fatness. Larry just not even looking at the camera. I look beyond repulsive. But I don't want to delete it off my phone because it's a picture with Larry David. Now, have you noticed this new thing with the phone that when if you have it like sitting on its side,
right,
pictures start coming up?
No.
Have you seen this?
No.
Let me see. Well, I have it on Do Not Disturb, so it might not work now. Wait, let me see something. This is terrible if you're listening, so I apologize. But if you're watching on YouTube, you'll understand. So if you have your phone, like here's my phone, and you put it like this, you'll see what's going to happen. It'll pictures start. And there was a time recently where I turn, and there's that picture of me with Larry David that makes me want to vomit. It literally makes me want to vomit. It's so bad.
It wasn't as bad as you're saying. I don't see any pictures, by the way, popping up.
When the phone goes into like the standby mode. But here's the thing. It takes like a minute or two. Here's the thing about it. The picture's repulsive. I'm repulsive. But on top of that, Larry was so not into taking that picture. I knew he wouldn't be into it. We both said we shouldn't go up to him and ask him for the picture, and we did it anyway.
Now I see it. Yeah. But that's the part of the whole thing that bothers me. So even though my picture was technically better than yours, it was like even thinking back to that night, it makes me uncomfortable of how horrible that moment was, where he wanted nothing to do with either one of us, which I understand and respect. And like we said, we knew it going in, but what are we going to do? We had to do it. That's our one shot.
The PTSD I have from that night.
It was horrible. I still remember. And by the way, it wasn't just him. Aziz, what's his name? The comedian Aziz
Ansari.
Yeah, Ansari. He was.
Oh, he blew you off big time.
He was such a dick to me.
No, don't say that. He was. No, he was. He took the picture with you.
No, he didn't. And I didn't even ask him for a picture. I was just trying to have a conversation with him. But anyway, he was.
You're out of line on that one.
I am not. I'm telling you what. Now, Dr. Melfi was terrific.
But why does he have to have a conversation with you?
He didn't have to be a dismissive jerk, which I felt like he was. Now, look, that's my interaction. I'm not saying he's a bad guy. I don't know him.
Right.
And here's some random guy coming up to him.
Clear that up. I don't need. Yeah.
Well, what do you mean you don't need it? I'm saying it, not you. That's how he was.
You're in enough trouble.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this happened.
Lorraine Bracco was great. Lorraine Bracco was great.
Too. Yeah. Lorraine Bracco was terrific. Spent some time with us.
Spoke to us. Conversation. Yeah.
But we were wrong. And this is why I usually don't talk to celebrities. I don't want anything to do with it. We shouldn't have gone up to Larry, and I shouldn't have talked to Jesus, whatever his name is.
I agree. But Lorraine was great.
I still got that picture.
Yeah, that was a good picture.
My wife wasn't happy with that one. It was a little too close for comfort.
What does she think? You're going to go have an affair with Lorraine Bracco?
If the opportunity presented itself, no.
Let's not give you that much credit.
No, but it's just, it was a nice picture.
Yeah, I mean, people might not even know what we're referring to, but back in, I think it was either 2017 or 2018. There was a Curb Your Enthusiasm premiere party in Manhattan for when it came back. I was lucky enough to get an invite through some connections at HBO. So we watched the first 2 episodes of that season. Then there was a party afterwards, and a bunch of HBO stars were there. And Larry was there holding court, and there was a line of people lined up to get a picture with Larry. And he looked miserable. And I'm like, he looks miserable. He doesn't want to do this. And 2 jerk-offs, we got on the line.
But it was it wasn't even an organized line. It was in the middle of a dinner floor.
Made it worse.
It did. There was a dinner table and just people walking everywhere, and Susie was there. Everybody. It was just it was a great experience, but it turned out to be an uncomfortable. I don't belong in those spots. So if they do have another invite, don't invite me to it. I don't want to go.
You'll go. It'll be this will be like you again with Not Sunday Ticket. And I apologize again for coughing into the mic. I did it last week, but I can't help it. Terrible postnasal drip. If anyone has solutions for postnasal drip, please send me a tweet or an email. But the kicker is, you got a picture with Larry that I took that came out phenomenal. I was like a photographer, professional. Then the picture you took of me with Larry, it was you would have thought someone who doesn't have any limbs took the picture.
You weren't looking. What do you want me to do? I thought I was taking plenty of pictures. It was an awkward spot.
It's so vile. It's so vile.
Were you looking away, or was he looking away?
I think I was.
Yeah. So
I was
that's
looking
my
away.
fault. You're looking away. You got 2 seconds, bro. Come on.
No. Well, you could have timed it better. But it's ultimately my fault because I'm so gross in that picture. Like I said, it was probably my fattest. But oh my God, it was so bad. All right, enough of that. The PTSD, horrific. So Jim Miller, he's going to come on in December, and I'll give us some Curb information. So I said, Ian's coming on next week. That guy said no. Oh, then I tried to get a baseball insider on who's never been on. And that was 100% my fault because I asked on late notice. I asked on, Monday, can you come on Tuesday, Wednesday? And he said next week. But we got Ian next week. And then the week after that, I'm supposed to have an NFL broadcast team, but I don't want to say who it is because God forbid it doesn't happen and falls through. But one of the top NFL broadcast teams should be on the week. So the next 2 weeks are booked, and then this week wasn't booked. That's just the way it works. So,
it happens. I don't envy you. I used to hate booking guests.
Yeah, it's no pick. I mean, well, the good thing is I've been on a run. So, you know, people can go back and listen to anything they've missed recently with Simmons and Dan Patrick and RG3.
But
Schrager was phenomenal last week.
You roughly have to book 45 guests a year, right? Roughly.
More, well, I mean,
Repeats.
Listen, the pod's 52. I probably tape 50 of the 52 weeks.
All right, so that leaves 2 weeks, and then you have double guests. That's why I said roughly 45.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
that's a lot of freaking guests every year.
Yeah, well, it is what it is. But you know what? Sometimes I don't. There are times I wish I almost didn't have a guest, and I could just discuss some things I want to discuss. I don't have a million things this week that I want to discuss, but I have some things, and I thought I would address some tweets that I've gotten and go through some topics. Okay. I'll start with this topic because it's picking up some steam. I know I got a couple of tweets about it. Awful Announcing wrote about it. I always have this in my head every week, but there's a lot of chatter about how bad the NFL primetime schedule is this week. Panthers-Bears is the Thursday night game.
Brutal.
Colts-Patriots is the 9:30 Germany game.
Okay.
Jets-Raiders is the Sunday night game. And Broncos-Bills is the Monday night game, which is not, I mean, that's passable.
I think Sunday and Monday they're passable. They're not great, but they're Sunday night, I should say.
Here's the problem. This is why I wanted to bring this up.
I mean, the Jets are 4-4. Raiders now with Pierce have a little more juice. That's not an awful game. And Monday night, Broncos. I disagree.
The Jets are an unwatchable. You're in New York. If you're not in New York, you can't watch the Jets. They don't have a quarterback, and they're unwatchable on offense.
Yeah, but
they've had 35 punts in 2 weeks. No one outside of New York wants to watch them. Yeah, nobody.
Maybe. All right.
And the Raiders, just because they won that game against the Giants, who's the quarterback? Not O'Connell.
Aiden O'Connell. Yeah, but at least there's some juice with Antonio Pierce. I'm not saying it's great, but of the bunch, it's better to me. That's the best one of them all.
No, see, I think Denver Buffalo is better. At least you have Russell Wilson and Josh Allen.
Russell Wilson
compared to Aiden O'Connell and Zach Wilson.
Well, if you're going based off a quarterback matchup.
Well, that's what I mean. After like I said,
unless you like train wrecks. What are you have the spreads on these games? I don't even know what that is for the Jets game. Even
I'll look it up. I know the Giants are they were 15-point underdogs before they named DeVito the quarterback today. So that was the biggest spread. Now, but here's what I want to say about this real quick.
Go ahead.
The NFL is going to have to. They're going to have flex for a much bigger window than they currently have it now. Thursday night football has flex from weeks 13 to 17. If Panthers-Bears was in that window, it would 100% get flexed. But Panthers-Bears can't get flexed because it's outside of that window. And Monday night football has flex from weeks 12 to 17. So they're going to have to, the NFL is going to have to add flex from week 8 on, basically. That's what they've done. Now, I actually spoke to a couple of people about why a certain game recently wasn't flexed. There was a bad game recently, and I was trying to figure out why they didn't flex it. And basically, it was a Bears game again. And and what I've been told is they don't want to flex things too early in the season. Teams aren't out of it in week 6 and week 7. Okay, they may not be out of it, but they may be unwatchable.
But then by that logic, you could just start flexing every week. I like the windows that they have. Now, I am not going to watch these crappy games, but you can't just flex every week.
See, I'm going to watch every one. I'll complain, but I'm going to watch every minute of every game.
Yeah, that's different. I'm not betting on the Bears and Panthers. I have no interest in that game. None.
Oh, I will. Now, next week, though, complete opposite scenario. They have what might be their best Thursday night game ever. They've got Bengals-Ravens, huge game on Thursday night, and Philly-KC, Eagles-Chiefs is the Monday night game.
And what's Sunday night next week? Do you know? But those are monster games.
The Sunday night game, I believe, it's a bad one. Vikings and Broncos. The NFL loaded up the Broncos, and the Broncos are in prime time, back-to-back weeks. NFL loaded it up because of Russell Wilson and Sean Payton.
Yeah, maybe that should have been a special flex situation where that's blown up so bad. Yeah, but they do this every year. Like at some point, aren't they going to understand that their prediction skills on which games are going to be good or which teams are going to be good, it's not working. So I get that they built in the flex, but it just doesn't work. Oh yeah, the Broncos are going to be great. They suck. Nobody wants to watch them. The Bears, the same thing. Stop.
Well, my proposal, what I've said recently is that when they make the NFL schedule, they should only make it for the first 6 weeks of the season. They could schedule the whole season, but they should not schedule the times. And they should do the times on they should then schedule the times of the games every 2 to 3 weeks. That's how they should do it.
All right. So then, but does that impact the networks? It does impact the fans going to the games, but those
I don't care about them.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, geez.
The NFL doesn't care about them either. The NFL cares about the 20 million people watching on TV. They don't care about the 70,000 people in the stadium.
Well, and
those tickets are sold.
If there's a potential that they can be flexed anyway, you're still, what's the difference? I like your idea, actually.
My ultimate point is this. There is no way on God's green earth that Panthers-Bears should be the Thursday night game this week. That's it.
Right.
Plain and simple. Now, it's funny because I said you said you're not going to watch them. I said I'll watch them. You said you wouldn't even gamble on them. One of the tweets that I got this week that I wanted to address comes from this guy at Rob MCKE, who says, have a question, Jimmy. I'm 54 and consider myself a huge sports fan, but have never made a single bet in my life. Can you enjoy sports without gambling? It seems like you're constantly torturing yourself. Why do you put yourself through this? LOL. So it's a good question. And I wrote him back and I said, I can enjoy sports without gambling. I just enjoy them more with gambling. Here's the thing. I really only bet on the NFL and college football. I'll dabble with the playoffs, the MLB playoffs. I'll dabble in, but I'm not betting a Yankees Royals game in July that I watch. And if LeBron's on TNT playing, the Sixers, I'm not betting on that game, but I'll watch it. So I can watch baseball and MLB, NBA. I can watch those without gambling on them. The NFL, I'll watch even if I don't bet a game. I'll watch it. Same thing with college football, but it enhances my enjoyment. That's how I would answer that question. And God bless you for never making a bet. I envy that person.
Yeah, I mean, it's not for everybody, but it does. Right. Look, and it also adds more stress and aggravation. There's no question about it, but it does add more juice to the game. There are certain things, if I bet on the Thursday night game and I loved one of the teams, I don't, but if I did, I love the Bears in this game. I'm watching it. If you don't, there's a game with no interest. The teams that you root for is a different story because you have built-in investment and care about it. But for a random game, you put a couple bucks on it, you're going to be interested. I'm not a big money better. I bet small amounts. I just like the action of having action. I'm not in this to make money. I'm in this to have fun and have that adrenaline rush. I don't need to bet big amounts. See, I wish I was more like you in that regard. I was when I was younger, and then $25 turned into 50, and that turns into 100, and that turns into 200, and then that turns into 5, and you start betting money that you really don't have, and then the action, $200 is not going to do anything. So then it's more. So I self-diagnosed and admit that I realized I have a problem with this. So I have to rein it in a little bit, which I have. I've never gotten into, thank God, serious trouble with it. But also at times I'm like, what am I doing? Even I love the Chargers Monday night. I loved it. And I was like, you know what? I'm not even betting this game. I just want to watch it and enjoy the game. And I did.
You weren't livid after they blew them out and you could have won money?
No, because
that's progress. That's progress.
Yeah, because I've experienced enough to know that, let's just say, whatever, I would have bet $200. Winning the $200 wouldn't have made a difference, but losing it and the stress and aggravation of being wrong and losing money would have hurt more than the win would have provided joy in that particular spot. But you come over and buddies are over and we're hanging out betting. Yeah, that's more fun. But on a Monday night game or I'm home by myself, certain spots, I got to pick my spots. I'm learning.
See, I give it $25 in a game and be perfectly happy and all into it and all revved up and ready to go. So we've always.
I respect it. I'm jealous of that. I wish I could do that.
Yeah. A couple of other things I wanted to touch on here. Oh, this was a question that came in since we're talking NFL. I just want to. So wait, let me ask you this. Did you get calls from people on the fan this week about Aikman's commentary on Zach Wilson on Monday night?
No.
Okay.
He was we got one call or just my partner Brandon Tierney brought it up. It came up, but it was a minimal thing, just that he was basically knocking Zach Wilson.
Yeah, he was calling it like it was. I mean, I didn't think it was egregious. If the team scores 6 points and the quarterback's inept for the entire game, and he's talking about that the entire game, well, what is he supposed to do? So
it's historically bad, the offense.
Right.
It's been historically bad. He's been arguably the worst quarterback in the last 3 years that he's played. And yet you got guys like Dan Orlovsky who are saying he's good. I don't understand how anybody could break down the film and think that, or watch the game and think that Zach Wilson's good. He's not. You there?
Yeah.
No.
Well, if the Jets are punting 35 times in 2 games, Troy's well within his rights to call it out and point out the deficiencies in the offense. But the reason I bring that up is, and then you contrast that with Collinsworth. I wrote about this in my column, who when the Jets played the Chiefs was so over the top having you think Zach Wilson was this Hall of Fame quarterback. It was just, to me, the difference was so stark in how the 2 lead analysts handled it. And I had tweeted that within the first 2 minutes of that game on Monday night, Aikman was calling out Zach Wilson for being awful. And when the Chargers had the punt return for the touchdown, Buck, as the guy was running, the Charger player was running towards the end zone, screamed out, "No flags."
Right.
And to me, that's a great sign of a phenomenal play-by-play guy. So I had tweeted that Buck and Aikman in the first 2 minutes showed why they're the best broadcast team in the NFL. And I pointed out Buck with the no flag. So this guy here at BrayMB1 wrote, "Why is saying no flag so important? I've seen you say that multiple times. I usually see the flag come out or the scorebug flash the flag. Not sure why that makes Buck great." Okay, so number one, you don't see the flag come out on a kick return or a punt return. The reason why it's important is because there are so many times where the kick returner or the punt returner is running down the field for like 70 yards, headed to the end zone. The announcers are going crazy. There's a celebration. And then the announcer goes, "Oh, wait, there's a flag." No, you got to tell me as soon as that flag comes out. I don't want to have the premature celebration. I don't want to think I'm going to cover a spread. I don't want to think my team is winning. First of all, it seems like 95% of kickoffs and punt returns have flags. So you better be expecting the flag. I think that's why Joe's good. I think Joe's expecting the flag because on a punt return, there's always a flag. Don't wait till after the play, after the guy's in the end zone, after they start celebrating and they go, "Oh, wait, there's a flag." That's why it's important. Tell me as it's happening. So I think that's a huge thing for a play-by-play person.
Agreed. And I do think more guys are aware of that now. Maybe not to the level of Joe Buck, but I've noticed it more because flags have become such a huge thing, especially on those plays, and they know not to get carried away where somebody will say, "Oh, there's a flag on the play," or "there's not." So, yeah, it's of high importance if you're watching a game live.
Right. Let me switch gears off the NFL. I want to talk about, well, I don't really want to talk about the NBA. I want to talk a lot about LeBron James. I will say this about the NBA. I still have no idea what the in-season tournament is, and I don't care. But if you said to me right now, "Here's $1 million, explain what it is," I don't understand. They had a night with the in-season tournament games, but not every night has it. I thought it was a tournament like in the middle of the season. I have no idea what the hell.
It's like games on Thursday and Friday or Tuesdays and Fridays or some shit like that. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I can't. I wanted about LeBron because LeBron had some tweets this week about the refs and about his career that got a lot of steam. I couldn't care less about those tweets. Here's the tweet I want to address from LeBron James from Monday night. "Why does YouTubeTV be buffering so damn much? Very frustrating." Now, This is right. Like LeBron got right in my wheelhouse. So before I even address the LeBron tweet, you are a recent YouTube TV subscriber with cable because you're an animal and want to watch these games or something. Have you had any issues outside of that one Sunday with the NFL? Outside of Sundays in the NFL, when you're just watching regular TV, have you enjoyed the YouTube TV experience?
I have not watched it outside of I bought it specifically for the NFL. I don't even really watch regular TV anymore. I'm so busy during the week. Sundays, I'm watching football, YouTube TV. That's it. I have not experienced it much without.
What an animal. Okay. So when I saw that tweet, I was like, it really sucks that LeBron is on such a level that you can't get access to him, because I have so many questions. And this is what I wrote in my column. Number one, LeBron James should have cable. He should not be slumming it with a streaming service. You're LeBron James. LeBron James. You get the highest tier cable package there is, gold. You get Showtime, Cinemax, Stars, HBO. You get everything. You don't even think about it. Why you're slumming it with some fakakta streaming service, I don't understand. And I would even make the case that LeBron should take a page out of your book and have both. He should have YouTube TV and cable. That's number one.
I love that you said that. He's notoriously cheap, isn't he? Don't we know?
So here's the other issue. Then after I said to myself, why doesn't he have cable? Then I said to myself, wait a second. Maybe he's got bad streaming and bad internet. Because I remembered all the Cavs players used to always say, Kevin Love, and they always used to say LeBron would not pay for Wi-Fi on the team flights. Oh. Now, how Wi-Fi isn't free on team flights, that's a whole other issue. But LeBron wouldn't cough up the money for the Wi-Fi on team flights. I bet you he has cheap, shitty internet, and I want to know LeBron's setup. I'm dying. Like, LeBron should have the highest speed that's humanly possible.
Agreed. And then some. Like you said, he should have his own cable company to make sure he's got the highest speed possible. Forget using somebody else. Just buy your own. Make it the highest thing ever.
His internet should be the most. It's like, you know, when you go in the Apple store and that you go in the, like when I go into the Apple store, I put the podcast on all the laptops in there, and those computers are like flying, and like LeBron should have the top speed cable street. He should have every single thing there is. Like, that's the perk of being like, why are you LeBron James if you don't have that?
Right. I'm with you.
I need to know if his YouTube TV was really buffering or if he has shitty internet. That's the question of the week for myself.
I would bet, based on our usage of YouTube TV, I would bet it's shitty buffering, because YouTube has been fantastic outside of last, or whenever you guys came over 2 weeks ago.
Right. So you think LeBron has bad internet?
Yes, I do.
So do I. Breaks my heart. You're LeBron James. Have some good internet. So when I wrote that column, I got a tweet from @JC the Man, who says, I just read your recent SI piece. Dude, have you been living under a rock, questioning why LeBron has YouTube TV? Somebody want to tell him. I have no idea if this guy is referring to the fact that LeBron's notoriously cheap, or if he's trying to tell me YouTube TV is better than cable, which if he is, then this guy is just completely clueless.
Right. It's not better than cable.
He should have both.
Right.
But if he's only going to have one, then it has to be cable.
Agreed.
The only other tweet I got here that I just wanted to read to you was from @Nick Coates. It's so funny what people pick up on when we discuss something. We talked a few weeks ago. We were talking about the Sunday Ticket on YouTube and navigating it on Apple TV. And we talked about how much we hate the Apple remote. And someone wrote, Nick Coates on Twitter wrote, let my wife get in on this. She hates the Apple remote. It's too skinny. It's too slippery. This fucking remote, I swear to God, it's probably stuck between the goddamn cushions again. That's all you need to know about the Apple remote. Sums it up perfect. His wife summed it up perfectly.
You know, I never really gave it much thought because I love the product. Like, I love the Apple TV and the interface and how to use it. But you're right. Like, that fucking remote is a major problem. It really is.
That's Apple trying to be all sleek and slick and fancy.
Too sensitive, too small, difficult to handle, easy to lose. I'm with you.
This is my Verizon Fios remote. It's a thing of beauty. You just press the buttons. That's it. Just press the buttons. Yeah. We can't wrap up unless I get a update on your house search, because everyone keeps asking about this. How about Schrager? Did you hear Schrager last week? He loves hearing about this.
I love Schrager. He's a good dude.
Yes, he is.
I haven't. Have you and I ever hung out with him together? I used to work with him at SNY years ago, but I never hung out with him. I saw him out of the restaurant once in the city, but I didn't say anything to him. This is many years when I was living in the city. I know you go out with him regularly. I have not been out with him in a while, or I have not been out with him ever.
I didn't even know he worked at SNY. That's news to me.
Yeah. No,
Who's bothering you at the fan?
No, I think we got somebody got to come in the office here for a second.
Oh, okay. All right.
I got to pop a shot in the office, and they need to come in here and film it. I think a UFC fighter is here. Yeah. So anyway, I have. Yeah, he worked at SNY it wasn't a long time, but he worked at SNY with me, Schrager.
I did not know he worked at SNY. So wait, the house search. Stay on topic.
Nothing last week. And we're hoping, we just got a text from the real estate agent, one of them, we're using two, that says hopefully there are some houses that are worth seeing this weekend. So last week was a stay at home, nothing doing. Hopefully we could pick it back up because time's moving here. We got to be out.
So this week, are you going to go Saturday or Sunday?
Saturday, definitely not Sunday.
Okay.
That was a one-time deal whenever I went on that Sunday. I'm not doing that again.
Got it.
Unless it's an emergency, I'm not going on Sunday.
So here's my question. The holidays are quickly approaching. I believe Thanksgiving, let's see, tomorrow's the 9th. Thanksgiving's 2 weeks from tomorrow.
Right.
Wow. So the holidays are quickly approaching. Do you get to a point where if you don't find a house where you say, listen, the holidays are here, we're going to have to wait till after Christmas to get back on, to searching houses, or you keep going through until you find one?
I think we're just going to keep going through. Now, there might be a day where I'm like, I'm not doing this today or whatever, but I think we're just going to keep plowing through and hoping to find something within the next few weeks here.
Because I was going to say, if you want your weekends free, maybe you wait till Thanksgiving and they say, listen, babe, holidays are here. Let's just put this off till January. I want to enjoy the holidays, festive. We have a young kid. All the energy should be into the holiday season. Then you don't go search for the houses. Saturday, you're on the couch all day.
The problem is I want out. I want to find a house. I just don't want to go look for a house. That's the issue.
Right.
We're in a tough spot. So, again, last week was nice to not have to go look, but it's another weekend, another day off the calendar. We got to find something here. I got to move. I can't take this damn commute anymore.
Trying to figure how I guess is the commute any better, or is it still killing you?
No, the train is fine, but just it's logistically, like, I got to figure out time to go to the gym. I'm getting home too late, so my wife and daughter are already in bed. Just the hour that I could save on either end is going to make a big difference.
Do you get recognized on the LIRR at all?
Occasionally. More on the subways. Okay. Some guy came up to me last week and I thought he was going to shank me. You know how it is on the city, like in the city on the subway. He's like, "Excuse me, sir," and I'm like, "Yo," and he's like, "Oh," he asked me. He goes, "What the hell did he ask me?" It was a funny. He said something about Daniel Jones because they've been saying, "Well, Daniel Jones had a great second half against Arizona," and he goes, "Do you know how many yards Daniel Jones threw for in the second half in Arizona?" And I was like, "Oh, all right." But yeah, I get that. It's weird, but yes, I've gotten recognized multiple times on the subway.
Excuse me. The Long Island Railroad is bad because you're trapped on it for 2 hours. So if someone wants to really get you, the subway is a quick, your stop comes, you can pop off. Long Island Railroad, for those outside of the New York area, you're trapped. So if someone recognizes you and wants to get into it with you, that's a tough one.
No, generally, in my seat to myself, not seeing anybody, all good. Generally. Sometimes a conductor will be like, "Hey, love the show." And I'm like, "Oh, thanks."
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm beyond shocked you wouldn't get recognized on the Long Island Railroad.
I think people, if they did recognize, most people just leave it alone or give like a "what's up" or whatever. Did
I tell you I got recognized at Thomas's, the diner?
You told me. I don't know if we talked about this on the air, but yes, you did tell me that. When did we?
It was
when I saw you, I think we talked about that.
Yeah, it was funny to me because, when it happened, I was like paying the check, and I didn't. And the guy just went into "love you." He didn't say "are." I like usually it's "are you" or "are," not right into the compliment. So I was flustered. So I was gonna get your advice on how to handle that, since you're recognized all over the place now.
It's a very unique thing, and I don't think it's something that you ever get used to. But you just kind of learn. Because I always feel like, happy. Do they know this person?
Yeah. See, I was happy with the Thomas's experience, because when I got recognized in Thomas's diner, my niece was with me, so she got a kick out of it. And like, I got recognized like a month ago in CVS, and I'm like by myself in the Benadryl aisle. Like, there's no pop there. Like, what, there's no one there to like, be impressed by that. So
no, it's.
All right, Sal. Well, I appreciate you giving me some extra time on this week with no guests. You came through big time. Like I said, we'll have Iron Eagle on the podcast next week. If you've missed recent weeks, RG3 and Peter Schrager were on last week, Dan Patrick 2 weeks ago, Bill Simmons 3 weeks ago, and Joe Buck and Troy Aikman 4 weeks ago. Subscribe to SI Media with Jimmy Traina. Leave a review on Apple. So here's the deal. I get Bill Simmons, Dan Patrick, Joe Buck, Troy Aikman. I've gotten like one review in a month. Come on.
People just don't want to leave reviews. I've never left a review in my life. Maybe I'll hit
exactly.
You up. Yeah.
But I'm over here begging, like, a little reward. All right. Appreciate it, Sal. Appreciate you guys for listening. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week with Iron Eagle. And that wraps up this week's episode of SI Media with Jimmy Traina. Stay safe and take care.